Hi, welcome to topic 8, lesson 5, notes, rates in the real world. This is going to be the exact same as unit rates. Instead of finding the rate of one thing, we'll be finding the rate of more than one thing. Nothing of this should be new to you. If you understood lesson 4, you're going to understand this lesson. So we're going to look at the two different methods. The biggest thing is just looking at what information do we know and going from there. So here I see every summer, Kendra plants a vegetable garden in her yard. Last year, she planted 6 rows of tomatoes and 8 rows of peppers. Kendra wants to keep the same ratio this year, but she only plans to plant 3 rows of tomatoes. How many rows of peppers can she plant this year? Well, I see two things here. I see that we've got 6 rows of tomatoes and 8 rows of peppers. And then this year, she wants to plant 3 rows of tomatoes. How many rows of peppers? I did a little kind of squiggly line there under that because I know that's my missing information. So I'm comparing tomatoes to peppers. That's my ratio, tomatoes to peppers. And I just got to make sure my numbers match up. So I've got 6 rows of tomatoes. So my first ratio here is 6. Sorry about that. Compared to the peppers, which was 8 rows. Okay, now I look at my other bit of information here. I know she wants to plant 3 rows of tomatoes, so I just got to make sure my 3 goes on top because that's where the tomatoes are. And I want to know how many rows of peppers. Well, that's my question. So I know my peppers is the X there. Again, from here, I don't know my pattern right off the top of my head. Biggest thing to remember, always make sure that your pattern is multiplication. So I ask myself, what do I multiply 6 by to get 3? I know I have to do that one because on the bottom, I can't know what I'm multiplying 8 by to get a missing number. I'd have to know what that number is to know. So 6 times what is 3? Well, again, I got to think about fractions. I know 3 is half of 6. Half of 6 of means to multiply. So I know 6 times 1/2. Sometimes that's not easy. It's not always the easiest to do. One way to think about it is go backwards. 3 times what is 6? Well, 3 times 2 is 6. And if I'm going backwards, I have to flip it and do the reciprocal of 1/2. So whatever I do on top, I do on bottom. So I'm doing 8 times 1/2, thinking of what's 1/2 of 8? Well, I know half of 8 is 4. So I know X has to equal 4 in this situation. So what does that mean? Kendra will be able to plant 4 rows of peppers this year. 4 rows of peppers this year. Okay. So same problem, we should get the exact same answer, but this time we're going to do cross multiplying. So again, still comparing tomatoes, sorry. Need to tape over that button on my pen. So comparing tomatoes to peppers. So I know originally I got 6 rows of tomatoes to the 8 rows of peppers. And this year she's going to plant 3 rows of tomatoes. How many rows of peppers? So just like before, nothing's changed here. I want my X on the left, so I'm going to cross multiply that first, and then I want the other diagonal on my right. So on the left here, I've got 6 times X, which is just 6X, equals my other side, which is 8 times 3, which is 24. All right, from here, I've got a one-step equation. I see multiplication on the left, 6 times X, so I'm going to divide by 6. Those cancel, leave me with X. Equals, well, I do the same thing on the right. 24 divided by 6 is 4. So notice we get the same answer we got here. So pick the method that you prefer and use that when doing the practice. Now, take a moment, pause the video, try out the next problem on your own, and then check in to see how you did.